Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome in. This is Bible Study for Overthinkers, and I am your host, Jackie Espada. I believe we're good. If I'm not, let us know if we are not good on Rumble, but I think we are. I think we're live on Rumble, and if we're not live on Rumble, we're at least live on YouTube, and also on X. So I think we're good. Like I said, Tracy, I think for a second at the beginning we may have just had slow connection to get the show up and running, but I think we're good. So good to go. Perfect. And we're good on YouTube, because I see you guys over in the YouTube crowd. All right. So we are here. We're going to finish an entire book of the Bible in one sitting today. Yeah, I think this is the first time we've ever done that, and I'm very much excited about it. So hopefully you guys are. We're going to be reading the book of Ruth. Ruth is going to be our book of the day, and it is a good one. If you guys have never read the book of Ruth, it hits different. It does. And I'm really excited to get into it, because I was reading through it today and was like, "Oh, this is the best story. I love it." But also I had questions about certain things. So we will get into all of that in just a second. But before we jump into it, we're going to give our friends an opportunity to jump on in here and come join us in the chat. And we're going to thank our sponsors. So first up, we have Loaded Gun Coffee. So thank you, Loaded Gun, for being a sponsor of today's show. I'm so excited. This episode is fueled by Loaded Gun Coffee. Veteran-owned, small batch roasted, and bold enough to actually taste as strong as it smells. They're all about quality over gimmicks, and every bag is roasted to order, so it's fresh when it hits your doorstep. You can grab your favorite roast at loadedguncoffee.com and use code JackieEspada for 10% off your order. Support small business, drink bold, and start your day the clean way with Loaded Gun Coffee. Thank you to Loaded Gun, and also to In His Word, partly because I started that one before I started Loaded Gun. But that's okay, because we also want to thank In His Word too. Cat, that's probably not something you should be trying to bite. It's fine. Hey, don't do that. If it was not a cord, I'd be okay with it, but it's like a plug-in cord for the heating pad. So definitely don't want her chewing on that. Anyways, glad that so it seems to Tracy, it must be a you thing, because it seems to be working on my end. I think it's working for other people, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, weird, but that's okay, because like I said, we have options. We have plenty of options of places for you to watch, so she'll be all right. Anyways, thank you to Loaded Gun, and also to In His Word for being a sponsor of today's show. I do enjoy wearing my In His Word gear. I think I wore I did. I wore Cam's hat on Monday's show. Alphas Make Sandwiches. I remember wearing it. So it's a good hat, I will say. It's one of those if you guys know anything about hats and stuff, but the brand Richardson is like top of the line, best of the best hats, and that one's not the Richardson 112, but it is one of the Richardson hats, and it's really high quality and has a fantastic message. So we love In His Word as well, and you can use my code Jackie Espada, and you can save yourself some money when you shop with them. We'll thank the rest of our sponsors a little bit later on in the show. But let's jump right in, right? Ruth comes biblically in book-wise. It comes after Judges. And the contrast is quite jarring, but in the best way possible. Judges ended on total chaos. There was civil war amongst the people. There was a horrific assault. An entire tribe was nearly wiped out, and then they just ended on like a really hopeless line. There was just everybody was doing right in their own eyes. And Ruth opens with that exact same time period. So it says during the time of Judges, but it tells a completely different kind of story. We see something, quiet, something almost like domestic in a way, and it's two women. There's a famine, a harvest field. There's none of that like political warfare or armies or idols or anything like that. That's kind of what the whole point is. While the nation at large of Israel is over there falling apart in Judges, God was quietly and patiently working with something enormous, if you think about it, because at the very end of this book they talk about the genealogy of Jesus. And it's something. It's just one ordinary kind of unnoticed family becomes like proof that God's biggest plans don't always show up in the big, loud national events. So, sometimes they're just happening in the little barley field in the middle of a famine, and there's only a few people who are getting to witness this. So, this whole book is only 4 chapters, so we are going to cover the entire book in one sitting today because it really does read as a short story. So it has a very clean beginning, there's a middle part, and then of course there's a nice little ending. But it's carrying the weight of the whole Bible's stories on its shoulders by the time you get to the last verse. And we'll get there in just a second. So I'm quite excited to get into this. This is gonna be fun, and I know that some of you guys are really excited to get into it. I've had a few people message me and say that they're really looking forward to this Bible study, and I'm looking forward to it as well. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for hitting the thumbs up, and let's get into it, right? Don't we? So first up, I will be letting you guys know I am reading from the She Reads Truth Bible. I say this every time, but that's because I have to. Yes. Anyways, the She Reads Truth Bible, if you want to follow along, this is the Christian Standard Bible. You can find it in the Amazon storefront link in the description of this show. So, Naomi. Is it Naomi or Naomi? I think it's Naomi. Yes, it is. Naomi's family in Moab. So, I'm excited. I hope you guys are. Anyways, Naomi's family in Moab. During the time of the Judges, there you go, there was a famine in the land. A man left Bethlehem in Judah with his wife and 2 sons to stay in the territory of Moab for a while. The man's name was Elimelech, and his wife's name was Naomi. The names of their 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in Judah. They entered the fields of Moab and settled there. Naomi's husband, Elimelech, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. Her sons took Moabite women as their wives. One was named Orpah, and the second was named Ruth. After they lived in Moab about 10 years, both Mahlon and Chilion also died, and the woman was left without her 2 children and without her husband. So, we're opening up right away with talking about the time period that we're in. This is the time of the Judges. So there's a famine going on, and this is the time of Judges. So at the same time of what we were just reading in the last book. There's a man, his name is Elimelech. He takes his wife, Naomi, and their 2 sons, and they go out to Bethlehem, which literally means house of bread. So it kind of makes the famine, the whole famine detail pretty ironic, because Bethlehem literally means house of bread. So they can move out of Bethlehem and they move to Moab to wait it out. Elimelech then dies, and his 2 sons marry, and 10 years pass, And, well, about 10 years, not exactly. And then they die too. And now Naomi is left alone with two foreign daughters-in-law and no husband, no sons, and no grandchildren. So, in the span of 5 verses, Naomi loses literally everyone. She has 3 deaths, one after another. There's no elaboration, there's no drawn out grief scene, just fact after fact after fact. This is honestly about as bleak an opening as you can find in the Bible. So, worth noting though, it's never made clear whether Elimelech's move to Moab was itself a mistake, leaving the promised land during those hard times instead of trusting God there. But either way, it doesn't end well for his family. So there's that. So let's see. Let's see what happens next. We've got Naomi now alone with her daughters-in-law. And if you are a daughter-in-law, you know that your mother-in-law isn't necessarily your number one choice to then go and live with after your husband or whoever is gone. So I don't know. This doesn't sound like a fun situation. Something that I definitely wouldn't want to be in, but it is what it is. Verse 6 of chapter 1. Ruth's loyalty to Naomi. She and her daughters-in-law set out to return from the territory of Moab because she had heard in Moab that the Lord had paid attention to his people's need by providing them food. She left the place where she had been living, accompanied by her 2 daughters-in-law, and traveled along the road leading back to the land of Judah. Naomi said to them, "Each of you go back to your mother's home. May the Lord show kindness to you as you have shown to the dead and to me. May the Lord grant each of you rest in the house of a new husband." She kissed them, and they wept loudly. They said to her, "We insist on returning with you to your people." But Naomi replied, "Return home, my daughters. Why do you want to go with me? Am I able to have any more sons who could become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. Go on, for I am too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was still hope for me to have a husband tonight and to bear sons, would you be willing to wait for them to grow up? Would you restrain yourselves from remarrying? No, my daughters, my life is much too bitter for you to share, because the Lord's hand has turned against me." Again they wept loudly, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, and Ruth clung to her. So, Naomi, she's trying to, she hears about the provision that was given to the land of Judah, and she's like, that's where my people are. So let's go back. And she then says to the daughters-in-law along the way, she's like, I wouldn't feel right taking you guys with me. You guys go back to your families and find yourselves new husbands, because I don't think I can provide that for you. And, they say no initially. They insist on going, and Naomi pushes a little bit harder, and Orpah's like, okay, peace. I'm good. I'm out. Obviously she's upset about it. She's crying, and she does kiss Naomi goodbye, and then she eventually goes home. But, she's not, I wouldn't necessarily call her a villain. She really did love Naomi. She wept real tears. She just made a reasonable, understandable choice. I'm sure any of you guys would have made that same choice if given that decision. So I don't blame her. She's not a villain. I don't think she's an awful person. So yeah. Ruth, on the other hand, does something very different. She clings to Naomi instead. So this is the most interesting part, and I think, is this the end of, no, that's not the end of chapter 1. But I love this vow that Ruth gives to Naomi. It's amazing. Anyways, here we go. Chapter 1, verse 15. It says, Naomi said, Look, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Follow your sister-in-law. But Ruth replied, don't plead with me to abandon you or to return and not follow you. For wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord punish me and do severely if anything but death separates you and me. When Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped talking to her. And not like, in my opinion, I don't think she like completely just like cut her out. I think she was like, okay, like she doesn't want to go. Like she's committed to me. She has now made a vow, and in this vow, it's obviously one of the most famous ones that we've seen in scripture. Oh, wow, scripture. It's not only just like a vow, it's a binding oath that she invokes God's own name. But it's more than just like a surface level oath between Ruth and Naomi. What she's truly committing to is to Naomi's God specifically. So there's zero practical upside for Ruth in this situation. But she trusts in the same God that she has seen her, I guess, mother-in-law worship. And she's like, I want to serve that God too. So I think that's pretty awesome, in my opinion. So good on Ruth for doing that. And we will see in just a few minutes that she will get handsomely rewarded for this faithfulness. All right, let's keep going. Verse 19. And this is actually where we will end chapter 1 of the book of Ruth. Or yeah, it is. All right, chapter 19 or verse 19. The two of them traveled until they went to Bethlehem. When they entered Bethlehem, the whole town was excited about their arrival, and the local women exclaimed, "Can this be Naomi?" "Don't call me Naomi, call me Mara," she answered, "for the Almighty has made me very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why do you call me Naomi, since the Lord has opposed me, and the Almighty has afflicted me?" So Naomi came back from the territory of Moab with her daughter-in-law Ruth, the Moabitess. They arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. So, I think Naomi's she's a little dramatic. But I could understand why she's being dramatic. But again, she's being a little dramatic. She's like, "Don't call me Naomi. Call me Mara, because the Lord has made me bitter." Well, for those that don't know, Naomi means pleasant, and Mara obviously means bitter. So, names. But yeah, so much drama, Naomi. Again, I understand, but there's no need to go and change your name like that. Anyways, this is all ultimately, this is real unfiltered grief, and we're not rushing to soften it or anything like that. Naomi genuinely believes that she has been targeted by God's judgment, and scripture just lets her say that without jumping in to like correct her in any way. So sometimes people in real pain need to be able to say the hard things out loud without getting immediately talked out of it. Excuse me. I don't know why I that. I felt like I heard something behind me. No, it wasn't you. It sounded like an animal outside the door. Yeah, that's probably it. Oh, update for you guys in the chat on the raccoon situation. I know that you guys have been anxiously awaiting the update. We had on Wednesday, the Terminix guys came and they plugged up any holes for like rodents in the house, and then they also laid out a trap in the backyard for the raccoon. And today we didn't get anything overnight and nothing until like this afternoon, but this afternoon we got him. We did it, Joe. We did it. And yeah, it was the cat food. So we have some cat food that Shuri doesn't like. And so we're like, if Shuri doesn't like it, we can probably put it back there, because yesterday Cam's mom was like, no, don't put the cat food out there because Shuri might go in there. And she, Shuri would have been definitely interested. Yeah. So she probably would have gotten in there, but we would have been able to get her out. Like the guy would have like walked us through how to get her out. But we got him. So he's in the backyard now, still in the trap. The trap guy is supposed to come tomorrow to come pick him up and set him free. I know we won't hurt Jimothy. Jimothy's okay. He's probably nice and well fed because we gave him the good cat food. Yeah, that Jimothy, that one, it was in, what is it, Seattle, Washington, something like that. I can't deal it. I thought it was cute initially, but then like he's so like deformed and it's weird, and I can't deal. It reminds me of like what's his name from Harry Potter, Dobby. It just like ugh. I can't. Oh God, it gives me the creeps. I was gonna pull up a picture, but I can't even look at it. Like, ugh. Jennifer Ray said that the raccoon will plead the fifth 111 times, most definitely. But we're not. This is not a political show. Stop it, Jennifer. But yes, throw him a sock. Well, no, because if I throw him a sock, then he would be free. So no, Tracy, I can't throw him a sock. Because no, because then he would just be like in the backyard. No, Jimothy, no. Okay. Anyways, that was chapter 1, right? Yeah, that was chapter 1 of that was chapter 1 of Ruth, and that was a nice little side quest there at the end. That thing's not on, is it? No, hold on. I gotta turn on the bug thing because there's bugs that are coming to the light, and if this thing's on, they won't come to the light.
Buzz, 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 buzz.
Wow. That was the bug that was going towards the light, I guess. Okay, so chapter 2. We got through chapter 1. There's only 4 chapters, Jennifer. Relax. We got 3 chapters left. And it's okay. It's okay. It gets better. It gets so much better. Like starting now. Chapter 2 is fantastic. And we're starting to see the love form. And it's not like it's a different type of love. It is love, but like protective, nurturing love. So let's get into Ruth and Boaz meeting. Now, Naomi had a relative on her husband's side. He was a prominent man of noble character from Elimelech's family. His name was Boaz. Ruth, the Moabitess, asked Naomi, "Will you let me go into the fields and gather fallen grain behind someone with whom I find favor?" Naomi answered her, "Go ahead, my daughter." So Ruth left and entered the field to gather grain behind the harvesters. She happened to be in the portion of the field belonging to Boaz, who was from Elimelech's family. Later, when Boaz arrived from Bethlehem, he said to the harvesters, "The Lord be with you." "The Lord bless you," they replied. The Boaz asked his servant who was in charge of the harvesters, Whose young woman is that?" The servant answered, "She is the young Moabite woman who returned with Naomi from the territory of Moab." She asked, "Will you let me gather fallen grain among the bundles behind the harvesters?" She came and has been on her feet since early morning, except that she rested a little in the shelter. So, that is that. We have Ruth goes gleaning. And honestly, seeing this story and actually getting an actual story. I mean, we got one last week. Yeah, last Thursday. We got the Samson and Delilah story. So it was like a known figure. And that was a lot of fun. So now jumping into an actual story with Ruth and Boaz, we're not going to see the actual, what I'm trying to say here is all the rules and regulations that we were reading until last week, basically, this is them in action. This right here is Deuteronomy, where is it? Yeah, Deuteronomy 24, Leviticus 19, talking about God specifically building into Israel's law that they have to provide for the poor and the foreigners. This is it. This is happening literally in real life. So we get to see gleaning, which is a real built-in provision in Israel's law for the poor. And I think it's funny that the text sits and says that Ruth happened to be in the land of Boaz. I mean, come on, guys. We know it's obvious. Like, it was clearly more than just a coincidence. And before we get into like who Boaz is, he's introduced us as a relative of Elimelech. So he's notable and prominent. So everybody knows who he is, and he's kind of a big deal. Boaz is. So let's see what kind of person Boaz is. This is chapter 2, verse 8. It says, "Then Boaz said to Ruth, 'Listen, my daughter, don't go and gather grain in another field, and don't leave this one, but stay here close to my female servants. See which field they are harvesting and follow them. Haven't I ordered the young men not to touch you? When you are thirsty, go and drink from the jars the young men have filled.' She fell face down, bowed to the ground, and said to him, 'Why have I found favor with you, so that you notice me, although I am a foreigner?' Boaz answered her, 'Everything you have done for your mother-in-law since your husband's death has been fully reported to me. How you left your father and mother and your native land, and how you came to a people you didn't previously know. May the Lord reward you for what you have done, and may you receive a full reward from the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings you have come for refuge.' 'My Lord,' she said, 'I have found favor with you, for you have comforted and encouraged your servant, although I am not like one of your female servants.' At mealtime, Boaz told her, 'Come over and have some bread and dip it in the vinegar sauce.' So she sat beside the harvesters, and he offered her roasted grain. She ate and was satisfied and had some left over. When she got up to gather grain, Boaz ordered his young men, 'Let her even gather grain among the bundles, and don't humiliate her. Pull out some stalks from the bundles for her and leave them for her to gather. Don't rebuke her.'" I mean, I love this part, Boaz doesn't just allow Ruth to glean. He goes well beyond what is required of him. He tells her to stay specifically in his fields, to stick close to his own female workers, and drink from the water his men have provided. And he's already instructed the young men not to touch her, which is a huge and real concern for foreign women working alone in those days. Like, it was a big deal. So, Ruth doesn't know what to think, how to act. She's completely stunned, and she just bows to the ground and asks why he's being so kind and show her so much favor, because she's a foreigner. He doesn't have to do any of this, and his answer is, it's beautiful, honestly. He says, I know about who you are. Everything that you did for Naomi, everything that that you will continue to do, basically, how you left your family, you left your homeland to come with people that you've never met before. And then he blesses her. He prays that God fully repay her for it, and under whose wings you come for refuge. So this is the important part. This is like the one part that we'll see again here in either in a few chapters, or not in a few verses, but we'll see that again. So keep that in mind. But at mealtime, he invites her to eat with his workers, and he gives her roasted grains, and she has leftovers to spare. Like, he's being so generous to her. And then after she gets back to work, he quietly, calls his men over, and he even gives her extra grain. He's like, set some bundles aside for her and leave them, and let's not embarrass her. Let's not rebuke her for gathering more than what she's technically allowed to be gathering. So this is considered this is generosity dressed up as an ordinary. This is generosity dressed up as ordinary hospitality, in his opinion. So Boaz isn't making a big public show of it. He's just being consistently, repeatedly going out of his way for someone he knew nothing to offer him and in return. So it is a good time, and I wish that we all had a almost like a savior. And it's funny because what they'll use here in a second is a good word for who Boaz is. And I hope that if you don't have a Boaz in your life, that you find one, and God sends him for you in your life, because I think we all deserve to have that type of love. So yeah, that's my wish to you guys. Anyways, verse 17, and this is how we'll end chapter 2 of Ruth. So Ruth gathered grain in the field until evening. She beat out what she had gathered, and it was about 26 quarts of barley. She picked up the grain and went into the town, where her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned. She brought out what she had left over from her meal and gave it to her. Her mother-in-law said to her, "Where did you gather barley today, and where did you work? May the Lord bless the man who noticed you." Ruth told her mother-in-law whom she had worked with, and said, "The name of the man I worked with today is Boaz." Then Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "May the Lord bless him, because he has not abandoned his kindness in the living or the dead." Naomi continued, "The man is a close relative. He is one of our family redeemers." Ruth the Moabitess said, "He also told me, 'Stay with my young men until they have finished all my harvest.'" So Naomi said to her daughter-in-law Ruth, "My daughter, it is good for you to work with his female servants, so that nothing will happen to you in another field." Ruth stayed close to Boaz's female servants and gathered grain until the barley and the wheat harvests were finished, and she lived with her mother-in-law. So that's a nice little thing there. That first day though, she gathers grain all day, and when she beats it out, she realizes that she has 26 quarts of barley. That for a single day of just gleaning is an enormous amount. And, clearly there's a sign of how much extra Boaz had arranged for her. So, she brings it home, plus the leftover food from lunch. And Naomi asks her, she's like, "Where did you get all of this? And who are you working for? Because this is, amazing." And then blesses that person without even realizing who it was. And then when Ruth says it's Boaz, she's like, "Dude, bless him even more." He's one of the family redeemers. And that term, family redeemer, comes from the Hebrew word goel, so Goel, goel, and that refers to a close relative that has a legal responsibility to help a family member in serious need, buying back any lost property, providing an heir for a deceased relative's name, avenging wrongful death, or just paying a family free from slavery. So it is a real legal and social safety net built into the Israelite law. So again, one of those those things that we were seeing back, those rules and regulations, we're kind of seeing them in real time now, and that's pretty cool. So Naomi tells Ruth that it's good to keep working for Boaz, and they keep working for the rest of the harvest. So that is where we are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause here for a quick commercial break so that I can drink some water, and then we will finish chapters 3 and 4. These are short chapters, so we'll probably be done pretty quickly, and I figured we would. I'm tired, guys. After last night's midnight something special, I'm tired today, and I'm hoping to go to bed early. So it's not that I don't love you guys and I don't want to be here all night. It's just I need to rest. It was a fun time, and I've been sitting at the computer for the most of the day today. In fact, I will announce a really cool thing after this show and get your guys' input on Saturday's show. So let's go ahead and pause here real quick. Let's thank our sponsor, Tamarack Garden.
Two Saints an adventure, and bugs are relentless. As an herbalist, I know you don't need harsh chemicals to protect your family. Here at Tamarack Garden, we've got you covered with natural sunscreen, mosquito and tick repellent that's even safe for your pets, a salve to draw out bug bites, and soothing sunburn cream, all made with the power of plants. Because we think summer memories should last longer than the bug bites. Tamarack Garden. Protect your family naturally and eat your weeds.
We love Tamarack Garden, and in fact, I am waiting for my Tamarack Garden order to come in. It should be coming in, hopefully, if not this weekend, then definitely by Monday. So I will show you guys the stuff that I grabbed from Tamarack Garden, and there is an update. I want to let you guys know that when you shop and use my code Jackie Espada, it no longer will take $10 off of your order of $50 or more. They have updated my code, and it takes 10% off of your entire order. So that is just an update for you guys. If you ever order Tamarack Garden, please use my code Jackie Espada, because not only are you getting a discount, but whatever purchase you make, I do get a cut of that sale just for you mentioning me. So thank you guys for continuing to shop Tamarack Garden. We love them. We appreciate them. And I'm very much excited to see them here in a few weeks when we go to Las Vegas. So, yeah, that's what we've got there. Next up, chapter 3 of Ruth. We're almost like we're flying through this. And I figured, like I said, we would. Like, we need a little bit of a break, don't you think? But also fun things coming, so stay tuned. Chapter 3, Ruth's appeal to Boaz. So Ruth's mother-in-law Naomi said to her, "My daughter, shouldn't I find rest for you so that you will be taken care of? Now isn't Boaz our relative? Haven't you been working with his female servants? This evening he will be winnowing barley on the threshing floor. Wash, put on perfumed oil, and wear your best clothes. Go down to the threshing floor, but don't let the man know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, notice the place where he's lying. Go in and uncover his feet and lie down. Then he will explain to you what you should do." So, Ruth said to her, "I will do everything you say." I have a few questions. First question is why? I think that's my only question, is why. That seems weird. Obviously, like I looked it up because I was like that. Huh? Why are we uncovering people's feet and then sleeping next to them? That's weird. We're not dogs. But But I know that in that time period, they didn't necessarily put women on like the highest like pedestal or anything like that. Um, but I looked it up, and it is strange, but there's real scholarly debate about exactly how forward or symbolic this act was meant to be. So, what's clear from the rest of the chapter, and we'll get there once we start reading it, is that this was understood as Ruth making a legitimate appeal for Boaz to act as her family redeemer, and not some kind of trap or manipulation, just based on how he reacts to it and the fact that Naomi's even suggesting it. So Naomi wouldn't have sent her to do something shameful, hopefully. And Boaz's own reaction afterward kind of confirms he understood it as more of like an honorable request and not an inappropriate one. However, I did go online and I did see some people say some foul things about some other things, and I'm like, I don't think that's it. But yeah, people uncovering feet and sleeping by their feet is a thing, apparently. Weird. Anyways, yeah, Tracy, like a puppy. Like a puppy. Weirdest thing. Anyways, chapter 3, verse 10. No, verse 6, sorry. She went down to the threshing floor and did everything her mother-in-law had charged her to do. After Boaz ate, drank, and was in good spirits, he went to lie down at the end of the pile of barley, and she came secretly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. At midnight, Boaz was startled, turned over, and there lying at his feet was a woman. She asked, "Who are you?" "I am Ruth, your servant," she replied. "Take me under your wing, for you are a family redeemer." That's the line. That's the line. Remember I told you guys earlier to remember? So this is the thing. So take me under your wing. And what did Ruth say in chapter 2? Oh, wait. No, that was Boaz. "May the Lord reward you for what you have done, and may you receive a full reward from the Lord your God of Israel, under whose wing you have come for refuge." So there's that connection there. So when he blessed her for coming under the wing of Israel, now it's literally coming right back to him. So Ruth is essentially asking Boaz to become the human means through which that blessing gets fulfilled. At least that's how I thought about it. She's making a direct, respectful appeal for marriage, invoking his specific legal responsibility as a family redeemer. So that's kind of what I've kind of made a conclusion on based on what I've read. I don't think it's any of that foul stuff that they're trying to push online, but that's what they're always trying to do. Chapter 3, verse 10. Then he said, "May the Lord bless you, my daughter. You have shown more kindness now than before, because you have not pursued younger men, whether rich or poor. Now don't be afraid, my daughter. I will do for you whatever you say, since all the people in my town know that you are a woman of noble character. Yes, it is true that I am a family redeemer, but there is a redeemer closer than I am. Stay here tonight, and in the morning, if he wants to redeem you, that's good. Let him redeem you. But if he doesn't want to redeem you, as the Lord lives, I will. Now lie down until morning." So she lay down at his feet until morning, but got up while it was still dark. Then Boaz said, "Don't let it be known that a woman came to the threshing floor." And he told Ruth, "Bring the shawl you're wearing and hold it out." When she held it out, he shoveled 6 measures of barley into her shawl, and she went into the town. See, what a guy! What a guy! I literally wrote that in my Bible, by the way. I said, what a guy. But yeah, he's warm. he doesn't get like, he's like not freaking out when he sees her at his feet. And, you know, he blesses her. And he calls this an even greater act of kindness than her earlier loyalty to Naomi. And that's because she could have easily gone and pursued younger men, you know, whether they were richer or poorer, but he clearly sees her choosing him, an older relative, over someone younger and more obviously appealing options, and he sees that as remarkable. So then comes the complication. There's already a Redeemer with a closer relation to the family than Boaz is, meaning that guy has first legal rights to Ruth and Naomi's situation before Boaz does. But he says, look, I'm gonna go talk to him. We'll figure it out. If he wants to redeem you, then fine. You can have him. But if he doesn't, I promise you that I will come through and I will make sure that I will be your redeemer. So before dawn, though, she tries to get out, and he blesses her again, gives her 6 measures of barley as a gift on her way out. And, you know, again, like I said, I wrote in my Bible, what a guy. What a guy. All right, let's finish out chapter 3. Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is verse 16 is where we are at. She went to her mother-in-law Naomi, who asked her, "What happened, my daughter?" Then Ruth told her everything the man had done for her. She said, "He gave me these 6 measures of barley because he said, 'Don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" Naomi said, "My daughter, wait until you find out how things go, for he won't rest until he resolves this today." I mean, she's not wrong. And that bold action that she had, Naomi, of sending Ruth in the first place, is followed by patient trust. She's like, I know that he's going to come through. And she believes that it's already done, essentially. And I think that's fantastic. I love Ruth for that. All right. Or not Ruth, Naomi, excuse me. And it's funny, though, because Naomi, I will say, when she came into town, she was down and out. She was in the dumps talking about, "Oh, my name is Mara because I'm so bitter." Now you want to be happy-go-lucky? She's human, though. I'll give her a pass. But you could have been happy from the beginning and pleasant, like your name says. Anyways, I digress. Chapter 4, and this is the last chapter in Ruth. So I hope that you guys have been enjoying this so far. If you have, make sure to please hit that thumbs up. That would be absolutely fantastic. Chapter 4, Ruth and Boaz marry. So good news. Boaz went to the gate of the town and sat down there. Soon the family redeemer Boaz had spoken about came by. Boaz said, "Come over here and sit down." So he went over and sat down. Then Boaz took 10 men of the town's elders and said, "Sit here." And they sat down. He said to the Redeemer, "Naomi, who has returned from the territory of Moab, is selling the portion of the field that belonged to our brother Elimelech. I thought I should inform you. Buy it back in the presence of those seated here and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you want to redeem it, do it. But if you do not want to redeem it, tell me so that I will know, because there isn't anyone other than you to redeem it, and I am next after you." "I want to redeem it," he answered. Then Boaz said, "On the day you buy the field from Naomi, you will acquire Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the deceased man, to perpetuate the man's name on his property." The Redeemer replied, "I can't redeem it myself, or I will ruin my own inheritance. Take my right of redemption, because I can't redeem it." I mean, I feel like Boaz kind of knew that going into it, that this guy wasn't going to be able to redeem the thing again, all a coincidence, right? But also, there are no coincidences. But he goes to the city gate, and of course, that is the place where legal and business matters were formally handled. And he waits, and he eventually talks to him, and let's see what happens next. Let's see. Verse 7 is where I'm at now. That's on the next page. 7. At an earlier period in Israel, a man removed his sandal and gave it to the other party in order to make any matter legally binding concerning the right of redemption or the exchange of property. This was the method of legally binding a transaction in Israel. So the Redeemer removed his sandal and said to Boaz, "Buy back the property yourself." Boaz said to the elders and all the people, "You are the witnesses today that I am buying from Naomi everything that belonged to Elimelech, Chilion, and Mahlon. I have also acquired Ruth the Moabitess, Mahlon's widow, as my wife, to perpetuate the deceased man's name on his property, so that his name will not disappear among his relatives or from the gate of his hometown. You are witnesses today." All the people who were at the city gate, including the elders, said, "We are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is entering your house like Rachel and Leah, who together built the house of Israel. May you be powerful in Ephrathah, and your name well known in Bethlehem. May your house become like the house of Perez, the son Tamar bore to Judah, because of the offspring. I'm just going to start over. May your house become like the house of Perez, the son of Tamar, bore to Judah, because of the offspring the Lord will give you by this young woman. So, the nearer Redeemer obviously steps aside, and Boaz is cashing in. He is getting the land. He is going to get his lady, and they do a sandal exchange. It's weird. Again, whatever. They do a sandal exchange, and that's like a whole, right of redemption. It's like an official transaction. I don't know. It's weird. You couldn't just shake hands or something. You gotta exchange sandals. Again, I'm not here to judge, but also a sandal, whatever. But the elders, they do what they need to do, and they respond with a blessing. May Ruth be like Rachel and Leah, the two women who together built the entire house of Israel, and may Boaz's own family become like the house of Perez, born to Tamar, and Judah generations earlier. A story with its own complicated history, worth reading, but that, of course, was back in Genesis 38. It also involves a family redemption situation gone wrong before it eventually goes right. So, yeah, I love that connection that we, get to marry those stories, and they shake hands, and we get to see that whole thing. So, yeah. Jennifer, maybe you. I may be judging a little bit. She says we're here to listen, not judge. I may be judging just a tad. Sandals? Really? Anyways, let's keep going. Boaz and Ruth are gonna get married. They're gonna get married. Here we go. Verse 13 says, Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. He slept with her, and the Lord granted conception to her, and she gave birth to a son. So that's the first time we've ever heard that. The Lord enabled her to conceive, basically. One of the very few moments in this whole Bible where God's direct action is stated outright rather than implied through some type of circumstance or something like that. She, he the Lord intervenes and they are able to have a child. And she gives birth to a son. So that's the other thing. So now we're setting up lineage here. The son. The woman said to Naomi, "Blessed be the Lord who has not left you without a family redeemer today. May his name become well known in Israel. He will renew your life and sustain you in your old age. Indeed, your daughter-in-law who loves you and is better to you than 7 sons has given birth to him." Naomi took the child, placed him on her lap, and became a mother to him. The neighborhood woman said, "A son has been born to Naomi," and they named him Obed. He was the father of Jesse, the father of David. We know David. David's the king. But yeah, so they get married, they have a son, and the women of the town, they're excited for Naomi. She is now, not left without a family redeemer, and they go up to her, and they go up to Ruth specifically, and they say she loves you and is better to you than 7 sons. So in a culture where sons are considered the ultimate measure of a woman's value and security, this is about as high as a compliment as you could possibly pay to a foreign daughter-in-law. And, Naomi, the woman who came from Moab, calling herself Mara, or bitter, empty, afflicted, takes this baby onto her lap and cares for herself, and the neighborhood women declare a son has been born to Naomi, and they call him Obed. And this is the lineage that we start to see. We got Obed, we have Jesse, and the father of David. So the empty woman from chapter 1 ends up holding in her own lap the grandfather of Israel's greatest king. It's kind of wild, right? I think so. But we're not done yet. We still have a few verses left to read before we wrap up. And like I said, this was a short little episode. I figured it would be short because Ruth is a short book, but we're not quite done just yet. We still got a little bit. David's genealogy from Judah's son. So, verse 18. Now, these are the family records of Perez. Perez fathered Hezron. Hezron fathered Ram. Ram fathered Amminadab. Amminadab fathered Nahshon. Nahshon fathered Salmon. Salmon fathered Boaz. Boaz fathered Obed. Obed fathered Jesse. And Jesse fathered David. So, nothing in this book was actually random. It wasn't coincidental. This whole quiet story turns out to be building directly towards Israel's greatest king, and that's the book. That is the book of Ruth, and it was like I said, short chapter, but a good one, I think. And I hope that you guys enjoyed that. Let's go ahead and pray. I have a few announcements to let you guys know about, and then I will let you guys out a little bit early this evening so that we can all get some rest. I think you all deserve it, right? I deserve it. You guys all deserve it. So let's go ahead and pray. Father God, thank you for another beautiful day. Lord, thank you for another opportunity to come together and give you praise and give you thanks. Lord, thank you for our time together tonight. Lord, we truly appreciate, and I hope and pray that every single person that is hearing this right now or on replay, that they may be blessed. Lord, I ask you to go into each and every person's life right now, and you feel the need that they are dealing with right now, whether it be financial or physical or mental, whatever it is. Lord, you know what their need is. May you come in right now and make it so. Lord, I also ask you and lift up the Amy's family. Lord, they're dealing with a lot right now. You know what they're dealing with. Give them strength during this tough time, and give them peace, and know that they are all in your hands. Lord, I ask you to continue to bless and protect our president, that he may have the strength and the willpower and the mental clarity to be able to continue to lead us. And that only comes from you, Lord. Lord, I also ask you to bless this weekend and bless everyone that is here. Lord, in Jesus' name I pray, amen and amen. That is our short little Bible study for today. But a few announcements. I actually spent the majority of today. I spent the majority of today coding a bunch of things for our website, because this Saturday we're going to bring the jukebox back, and it's going to be the People's Jukebox. But I've enjoyed how we've been doing song requests for Midnight Something Special. So I've decided to build out the website a little bit more for Hooks and Harmony as well. So we'll be able to use that request line this weekend. And I'm trying to figure out, if you guys are on Instagram, find me on Instagram. People are deciding what the theme of this weekend is. Right now we have songs about food. So songs about food. And then the second theme is songs that celebrate America. So those are the two theme options that people are voting on right now on my Instagram account for this weekend. And in fact, what I can do is I can throw my Instagram here in the chat for you guys if you guys want to go vote. It's got to be this one. So if you guys want to go vote, you can go vote there on my Instagram stories. If not, you can just let me know. If you're not on Instagram, just let me know now in the chat. Do you want songs about food or songs about America? You guys, you guys are in charge of the playlist, so you guys get to decide what we listen to. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. If you guys, once I figure out what the theme is, I will drop the link in the Telegram chat for you guys. And of course, it'll be on the screen for you guys to actually submit song requests on Saturday as well. So we're going to have a fun time, whether it be songs about food and making us hungry or songs that celebrate America. It's going to be a fun time either way. Right, Kay? That's what I thought it would be. It would be funny. So like cheeseburger in paradise, right? Like that would be fun. There's got to be songs. Cherry pie. She's my cherry pie. Another one. The Thanksgiving song. I got beans, greens, tomatoes, potatoes. That one. You name it. I mean that would be a fun show. So maybe someday we will do that. But until then, you guys get to decide. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I will see you guys on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern for Hooks and Harmony, and we will be back. We will be in 1 Samuel come Sunday. I figured let's continue into the story of David, because David is a pivotal character in the Bible. So we just finished up Ruth. I'm going to write a Substack. I wrote the Judges Substack. It should be released tomorrow morning. Ruth Substack, I will write that up this weekend and hopefully have that out to you by Sunday. And then I'll get started on 1 Samuel. So 1 Samuel, guys, will be back on Sunday. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Oh, I wanted to quickly thank Shannon. She says she sent a Venmo for $20. So thank you, Shannon. And I know that we've been talking on X and all of that. So she was really excited for this, on this whole thing about Ruth. So she was really excited. So I know that you may be watching this on replay. And if you are, I love you and I still appreciate you. And thank you for the Venmo. But that's all I got for you guys. Appreciate you guys. Love you. God bless you. And I'll see you sometime this weekend. Bye. Bye.